Hello Year 9 and welcome to my first virtual assembly for you today. I hope that you're well and I hope that this assembly provides you with a little bit of clarity with regards to your remote learning and also includes a bit of a similar format to what you'd normally see in assembly at school. Now, obviously during the present time, you will probably thinking, you probably have a lot of questions, a lot of anxieties, a lot of doubt, and we all share those as a school, as teachers, as staff, and I'm sure other students as well. We all kind of share that doubt at the moment. And I wanted to make my first slide of the assembly to really focus on it's not all doom and gloom. I mean, if any of you watch the news on any sort of basis at all, you will see a lot of negative news stories at the moment. There's lots of things in the world that we could dwell on and we could think really negatively about. So I wanted to use this first slide just to go over a little bit some of the things that I've read, which actually quite positive news stories. I'm not sure if you've seen on social media the very top headline, "Wild animals enjoy freedom of a quieter world." There's lots of pictures. It was that one's obviously not from Wales, but there were some pictures from Wales of sheep that had escaped from fields and had gone roaming around a Welsh city. And you know, I think it signals to us just how busy things were before, and how congested and how built up areas and how busy and how loud areas are. So you know, it's one of those sort of feel good news stories with, you know, whilst during the lockdown we couldn't enjoy the freedom of a quieter world, you know, at least you've got animals that can. And the other three stories are just sort of snippets, really, things that I've read over the last few months to do with how the virus has brought out the good in people. There's lots of initiatives, you might even be aware of them in Mansfield, you know, delivering food to people, especially elderly people that haven't been able to get out. There's been lots of people as a community clubbing together and helping each other to pick up deliveries, pick up prescriptions, that kind of thing. So these are all sort of positive news stories just to immerse yourself in, because I think sometimes we can get into a tricky situation where we think all the time on the negative side, and actually there is some positive developments that have come out of the virus, and I've included obviously in the middle there Captain Tom Moore. I'm sure you saw it on the news. It was kind of one of the big positive news stories at the time, who for his 100th birthday, it was in that article, but he did a walk so many miles for the NHS and raised, I think it was nearly £20 million in the end, through donations to donate to the NHS during the pandemic. So I wanted to use this first slide just as a bit of an indication that actually it's not all doom and gloom, and you know, there are aspects there are positive aspects out there for us to dwell on as well. And I mean, the other thing to think about, one of the other positive elements that have come out of the virus is this idea of us learning to adapt and work differently. I don't know if anybody's been to McDonald's yet, but it was high up my to-do list when the lockdown ended, through drive-through, McDonald's drive-through. And it's amazing to think that in such a small space, a company like McDonald's is able to adapt and use what they can in a safe way to continue providing the service. Obviously there's a picture there of Microsoft Teams, which we're all very familiar with now, in the 2 meters distance. Top left, you've got a picture of a home office. Mine at home doesn't look as nice as that. It's just a table in the dining room that I've been sitting at. But it's just an idea that actually, you know, overnight, a lot of us have had to change the way we work and learn straight away. And that isn't easy, to try and adjust to that routine. The two pictures at the bottom, you know, a lot of people are having more food delivered. You know, the middle picture with the lady that's waving to the guy on the motorbike, you know, a lot of delivery companies have had to adjust, work long hours in order to meet the demands of other people. And the bottom right one was from a few weeks ago. It might have been last week actually, or maybe even this week. IKEA, when it opened, and the amount of people that were at IKEA queues went on for miles and miles. But what you notice that there's a lot less complaining, because people kind of know that's how it works, and that's just what we have to do now given the circumstances. Now you will have lots of questions. Okay, I'll just pop these up on the slide. Some of you that have been participating in remote learning, you might have had a bit of doubt there. Is the work that I'm producing good enough? Okay, those of you that haven't started remote learning or haven't used Microsoft Teams fully yet, you might be thinking, I haven't submitted any work yet, so what do I do? Where do I even start? There might be questions about what will happen in September. Will we be back at school? Won't we be back at school? Will it be any different? What's going to happen? Or it might be that you've been set some work on Microsoft Teams that you just don't understand. And these are all normal questions. There's nothing wrong with having these questions, because naturally, as humans, we like to ask questions. We sometimes doubt ourselves. It's completely natural. So if you've got one of those questions on the board, okay, hopefully I'll be able to provide some answers in this short assembly today. What I will say is your mentors, me, your teachers, we're all here to help you. So whether you've started on Microsoft Teams and you've been doing it for a while now, whether you haven't started yet but you're going to, whether you're unsure about something and you want to get some feedback, your teachers, your mentor, and we can all provide that support. So don't be afraid to get in touch with us if you want to clarify something. That's what we are here for. Now, I'm sure most of you are familiar actually with Maya Angelou, because in your English literature lessons, might have been last year, maybe at the start of this year, and also if you've been doing the remote learning, there's some poetry from Maya Angelou in that as well. And I just wanted to share this quote with you. I can be changed by what happens to me. I refuse to be reduced by it. What this quote suggests is that we have to be flexible. We have to be willing to adapt and willing to adjust. But sitting behind all of that is this idea that, yes, we might have difficult times. Yes, we might go through a few difficult patches. We might have to seek help or guidance. We might get a bit upset, we might get a bit stressed, and that's all perfectly normal. But it's about how you use that to develop and get even better. Right? It's not about thinking, oh, I missed this deadline, that's it, that's the end, I can't hand in any more work. It doesn't work like that. Okay, if I go back a little bit, I've put down here, it's not possible to work in the same way you did at school. And we understand that. You've got to stop putting pressure on yourself to try and copy the way you would work in school, because it's just not going to happen. Okay, it's unrealistic to assume it will. The circumstances are different, the environment's different, you'll be feeling differently as well. So try not to put that additional pressure. Try to use every sort of challenge that you face as a way of getting better and moving forward. Now, after this, you can pause a little bit and just have a bit of a think in your head. So you've got 4 images down the left. Okay, you've got somebody laying some bricks, building a wall. You've got a doctor. You've got somebody playing cricket. You've got somebody writing. Okay, and I want you to imagine who's doing each job. Okay, and I want you to try and have a think about what each person might be thinking at that moment. If you pause now, you can have a bit of a think. Okay, so hopefully you had a chance to pause and restart there. But the builder, at that point, he might not be thinking necessarily about building the main house or finishing the wall. He's probably just trying to make sure that he's got each brick lined up perfectly. The doctor, she might not be thinking about curing the world, but she might be thinking about how to help that patient. The bowler, he perhaps isn't thinking about winning the Ashes or a tournament, or even bowling the person out, he might just be thinking about how does he aim for the perfect shot. And the student perhaps might not be thinking about the end goal of their GCSEs, or graduating from university, or finishing college. Okay? In times of struggle, we have to think of the little steps that you can take to bring about change in your own environment. Okay? So the builder might be thinking about, I just need to get this brick level and even. The doctor might be thinking about, I just need to provide a cure to improve this person's life. The bowler might be thinking, I just need to bowl this ball to get the player out. Or he might be thinking, I just need to bowl this ball accurately. And then it comes to you, because students are all in a similar situation, and whether you're at university, whether you're at college, whether you're at secondary school, primary school, all of us are having to adapt a little bit and get used to a different way of working. Okay? So what I want to try and put across to you today is it's about the small steps we might be making on a larger scale. Okay? It's not about, oh my God, my GCSEs are in 2 years, and what am I going to do? It should be about, what do I need to do this morning to complete this task and succeed? And all of the little bits will fit together in a bigger puzzle. Now, those of you that have been in my classroom know that I've got a bit of a display dedicated to Oasis, because they're one of my favourite bands. And there's a song by Oasis that always comes to mind when I think about little steps. And the song's called Little by Little. Okay, you can see there a bit of an insight into my iTunes playlist. But Little by Little, it's not necessarily a song that I live by, but the lyrics in it I thought were relevant to this assembly today. Okay, it's little steps that take us somewhere. And I thought I'd include this on here to sort of give you a bit of, try and teach you a little bit as well about geography, I suppose. So if you look at the top left picture, okay, you've got Maracanã Stadium, which is in Rio de Janeiro, in Brazil. Now that took 2 years to build. Okay, it's one of the biggest football stadiums in the world. Okay, when I lived in Brazil, I went there, and it's an immense size. 2 years that took to build. Underneath it, we've got La Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, in Spain. Now that has taken already 150 years, and they're still building it. In the middle, the Great Wall of China in China, 200 years to build. And on the right, hopefully something that you remember and you're familiar with, Big Ben. It's undergoing construction at the moment, but initially that took 13 years to build. Little changes gradually build up to a big change. But none of this is going to happen overnight. Okay? You're not suddenly going to wake up in the morning and be better at something. Okay? If you've not started your remote learning yet, you're not suddenly going to wake up tomorrow and say, right, I'm going to catch up with everything that I've done. You're not going to wake up on a Monday morning and say and do all of that week's work on a Monday. Okay? So I've included this slide because what I wanted to get across to you was that little by little, it's a gradual process that we have to keep chipping away at. Okay? I didn't just wake up Monday morning, do this assembly in an hour, and record it. In fact, it took me 3 times to record the assembly because I started coughing halfway through, and I left the back door open and the wind blew. So I started it a 3rd time, and I'm now 3rd time lucky. And the actual presentation took me about 3 hours to put together. And I started it, then I walked off and made a cup of tea, and I came back, then I walked off and made a cup of coffee, then I came back, and then I had a knock at the door. All these little things, they're going to disrupt. Okay, we're not working in the same way we would normally. But little by little, gradually, okay, this is where I got to. Okay, and this is the assembly that I'm giving to you now. On a final note, before I wrap this up, I just wanted to just point you in the direction of some ways that we've been celebrating and acknowledging your achievements so far. Okay, because we can't go into lesson. I can't go into lesson and say well done. I can't phone home necessarily and say well done, okay, straight away. But what we have been doing So we've been updating the school website. So you've got the Year 9 Hall of Fame on the school website. If you haven't had a look yet, I definitely advise you to go and have a look, see which members of Year 9 have been on. We've also been doing phone calls home. So you might have spoken to me or your mentor over the last week, or you might even be speaking to them this week. I've also done some certificates and emailed those home. And I've also, and as well, your mentors as well, we have put notices on your mentor teams pages, and we've also emailed out to you separately when you've been doing a really good job. Okay, and what I would say is, we all do great things on a daily basis. Okay, for some people, these achievements, the Hall of Fame and the certificates, and the phone calls, they haven't been for necessarily doing the most amazing grade 9 work. You know, some people have been on the Hall of Fame because they've been doing consistently good work, or they didn't do any work, but then they really tried and made a really good effort at catching up. Okay, so what I would say here is that we are acknowledging and we are rewarding students because of the progress they're making and also their attitude, so it can be a bit of both. So before I wrap up, thank you for watching. Apologies if you've had to listen to my voice. My video camera isn't working, so you can't have a video of me, unfortunately, but hopefully next time that will work. I've just popped a few links on here for you. Time management, mental health and well-being, which is really important at the moment to sort of, if you need some advice and support, to seek it out. Bit of careers stuff on Unifrog, so if you go to the Unifrog website, you'll be able to sign in there with your school email. Some information on Microsoft Teams if you're having trouble, and then a link at the bottom to the Year 9 page on the Garibaldi School website. Okay, now what I will say is, this PowerPoint will be put on your mentor teams, so you'll be able to click those links and find them. But we are only at the end of an email. Okay, anything at all, whether you're worried about a piece of work, whether something's happened and you need to talk to us about it, whether you've got any questions at all, please, 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 we are here to help and we are here to listen. Okay, it's okay if you're struggling and want to contact us. It's really okay as well if something's going really, really well. You think, actually, I want to let my mentor know, I want to let Mr. West know, because that's fine as well. You can get in touch with us, you can drop us an email, and we can sort of keep a check on how you're getting on. Okay? Thank you for listening.